G'day guys, welcome back to another Collingwood review on the channel. Today I'll be reviewing the Collingwood vs West Coast game that occurred yesterday afternoon. It was Collingwood getting the job done by 63 points. And yeah, let's get straight into the review. Obviously we got the job done by quite a big margin in the end, which is definitely good. It was a pretty interesting game, that's for sure. A game where we were pretty strong for a majority of the game, I want to say. We definitely had some rough patches, and West Coast certainly had some good patches, which wasn't ideal, but we were still able to get the job done, and we still played pretty nicely in the end, I felt. And it was always good to get a big win against our arch rivals in West Coast, seeming they're a bit of a bogey side for us. So, yeah, we'll definitely take that, and 63 points is always a good way to win. I felt like we were pretty composed for the majority of the game. Obviously, we did start very, very well, kicking, I think it was the first 6 or 7 goals of the game. Obviously, West Coast did have that good patch towards the end of the second term and the third quarter, but we were able to, settle the troops a bit late in the third, and we played a really, really good fourth quarter. And I think that was mainly due to West Coast running out of legs, putting too much speed on the ball during the third, and they just ran out of legs. And in the end, we just had more speed and energy left in us. And it's always good to win those type of games, and it's always good to get a bit of a percentage boost. We now have the best percentage in the comp. I think it's around 136 to 138, which is pretty cool. Always good to have a big amount of percentage. And yeah, look, it was pretty cool, that's for sure. There was a few players as well that would definitely had a day out in front of goal. Bobby Hill was arguably our most dangerous forward, kicked 3 goals pretty early on as well. Brody Myercheck continuing his great season, kicked another 3 goals, definitely helped having Barras out. Ash Johnson kicked 3 as well. He also looked pretty cool and calm and collected in front of goal, which is always great to see for him, kicking 3 straight, so that's always great. Nick Dacos also kicked the 3 goals and had the 30, so he was absolutely superb again. And Mason Cox looked really good in that first half, kicked 2 goals, had a really good game. And also got to get around the debutant, Harvey Harrison. His pressure was good, especially when we lost McCreary, which I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, 8 touches and a goal, so not bad. Really should have kicked 2 goals. A bit unlucky that one hit the post, but oh well. We did sub in Oleg Markov halfway through the third quarter as well, due to injuries. I'll speak about the injuries a little bit later on. I thought he was pretty poor, which was disappointing because he's had a good season. A bit harsh to drop him, but yeah, he was really, really poor. Just the one disposal, been subbed in halfway through the third. Yeah, it's certainly not ideal, that's for sure. There's a few that I thought didn't have great games, and I think the main one was Ginnivan. Nothing went right for him, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully he can hold his spot and continue to push. Would have been better if he did kick a goal, but he didn't, which is a bit unfortunate. The other one was Jordan Agoe. Obviously, we all know what happened in the game, and I'll speak about that a little bit later as well. But just the 19 touches for him. I don't think he kicked a goal either. So, yeah, just a really, really quiet game for him. And it's a bit of a shame, that's for sure. West Coast did get off the chain at times. Oscar Allen was obviously very good and continued his great season. Kicked 3 goals. Dom Sheed, Tim Kelly, Liam Duggan, Elliot Yeo, just named a few, all had day outs. We can't really do too much about that either. Because, West Coast have got to have their good players as well, and they were actually pretty alright in this one. But we also had a few players that dominated. Nick Dacos again was brilliant. His brother Josh, always doing really well. Isaac Quainer, his recent weeks have been incredible. He was sensational in defence. He's so underrated, such an underrated player. Tom Mitchell was big in the middle. Darcy Cameron really stepped up when the game needed to be won, I felt, which was great to see. Taylor Adams probably had his best game of the season, I want to say. Jack Crisp definitely had his best game in a while as well, kicking the opening goal, in that amazing streak of now playing 200 games in a row, which is superb. Just hasn't missed a game for us. He's played every single game for us since 2014 or something. It's just a sensational record, and it's just a superb one to have. Nathan Murphy was intercepting brilliantly in defence, and you got the usual stars and Bobby Hill, Moore, Pendlebury, Noble. Just a great game, I felt, for us. Now, obviously, we all know what happened with Jordan De Goey. That big suspension of his, it's going to be a 3 to 4 week suspension you'd expect, and yeah, it's frustrating, that's for sure, just to chuck your season away like that. And look, he's been very, very good for us this season, probably been one of the best players out of the whole competition this season, and yeah, just a careless and dangerous bump, and yeah, he'll be missing minimum 3 weeks, so he'll miss Melbourne. Obviously, we got the bye, and Adelaide and Gold Coast, so bit of a shame. Hopefully, we can get him back for the game after Gold Coast, but yeah, he may miss 4, which could be really, really bad, that's for sure, because yeah, we certainly need him, and Craig's said after the game, it's a bit sad, obviously, but Geordie's got to learn his lesson from this, and hopefully he can come back and still play well after. Hopefully it doesn't affect him, because it certainly did look like it was affecting him at times, knowing that he'd be suspended for 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, it just wasn't great. Also, a little bit of injury scares. Bo McCreary's looks like he may have done a foot. He's got a foot complaintment. Looks like it might be a syndesmosis, so it might actually be an ankle. Yeah, it's not great, that's for sure. Syndesmosis is normally 6 to 8 weeks, so that's disastrous for us, because Bo McCreary is one of our most important players in terms of applying pressure in the forward line, keeping it locked in, and yeah, just kicking the 1 to 2 goals a week sometimes. Obviously didn't hit the scoreboard before getting injured, but yeah, I was just saying before the game that he's just so underrated to what we do. He's just such an important player for us, and it did look like he was affecting us too. Obviously not so much in the last quarter when West Coast ran out of legs, but you will see it'll probably affect us in next week's King's birthday clash against Melbourne. It's a bad blow, and we're hoping it's not too serious. I don't really know anything about it yet. Ash Johnson also suffered a bit of a corked leg. It looked really, really serious at the time, but came out, continued, actually kicked a goal, I believe, after getting injured. So I think he'll be fine, which is good. The other one is Will Hoskin-Elliott, rolled his ankle and early in the 4th and couldn't continue. Did look like he'll probably miss a week. Good thing we got a bye after, so yeah, I'll probably miss that little 2-week period. You'd think maybe he can be okay. Look, again, I don't really know the length of the injury. It didn't look horrible, but you never know with a rolled ankle. It could be something serious. It could be a syndesmosis for him as well. So yeah, just fingers crossed. We hope for the best for these boys. We've also got Dan McStay, Pat Lipinski, hopefully coming back next week against King's birthday. So at least we've already got some high quality players coming in. Lipinski will come in for Geordie, you'd expect. McCreary will need to be replaced, so we'll just bring McStay in. You'd think from him, go with a bit of a taller forward line maybe. Maybe play Ash Johnson a little bit smaller. It'll be very interesting to see what we do, that's for sure. Especially if Ash Johnson is out. I don't think he will be though, and Hoskin-Elliott as well. If he does miss, then we'll probably have to find a replacement. Probably someone like a Carmichael or a McInnes. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what we do. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Yeah, stay tuned for the big review next week after the King's birthday clash against Melbourne.